Well, let's move to the other hot button topic of the week. That would have been what I led with if you didn't, have the earth-shattering GTA 6 release date, which is Microsoft has decided, hey, we're going to just raise the prices of everything. Supposedly because of tariffs, but I did look into that. Like, I think a good majority of their hardware does come out of China.
It does.
So that makes sense. But I can't think of a worse fucking time to come out and be like, hey man, here's all these price hikes. We're dead last.
That's what I was gonna say to you. Like, my thought is like they had a meeting and somebody said, okay guys, here's the thing. We're in third by a huge margin. Nintendo's about to release a new console which is going to crush us financially for the next 6 years, even though it's $500.
Doesn't matter.
How do we respond? And they said, you know what? Let's keep selling the same shit and make it higher priced than everything else. And everyone said, fuck yeah, and they did it.
The important thing to note is the only thing that has not changed at this time is Game Pass. That will come.
It's coming.
That will come later. That will come
That's
right
where the
before
money
Call of
is.
Duty. That's what will happen.
When Call of Duty costs $80, they have to update.
They have to. But for right now, it's all systems, controllers, every accessory, and quote unquote first party games.
Yeah.
For the people that don't have Game Pass to buy games, I guess.
The worst part is
for Xbox.
Their first party games are just fucking digital games.
They are. Yeah.
How are those costs affected?
Exactly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Here's another fun statistic that you'll enjoy. Sony is now no longer the console manufacturer that has the most expensive system in North America.
It's insane.
It is Microsoft with that Galaxy 2 terabyte Series X is now $730.
That is fucking crazy.
$730.
Someone there is like completely off their shit, dude. I don't get it.
I've said this before, and I still firmly believe it. Is I think if you go way back to when Game Pass started, Phil Spencer made a deal with the guy above him and said, "Give me X amount of time, and I will turn this around with Game Pass." It did hit numbers, but it became stagnant, and that was the time where "quote unquote" the devil came to get his due.
Well,
and that's what Microsoft is now.
$44 billion on Activision, which there's no way they've recouped yet.
No.
It probably never will.
No. They probably won't. But there again, like especially like you put out the good point here. When your first party games are all digital, there is no reason for it to be $10.
You can't buy like my favorite thing is like Perfect Dark is one that they said Perfect Dark's gonna be an $80 game. First off, that game has to exist for it to cost $80.
It does.
Second off, outside of idiots like me who would have paid that for it if I had an Xbox, but I'm never going to have an Xbox. So unless that game comes to PlayStation, no one is buying it. Mm-hmm. No one is buying any of these games for $80 unless they come to PlayStation. And even then, I'm probably going to wait.
I feel like most people, like, I don't know, because at the same time, and I'll guess I'll just mention it now, like, Microsoft once again has clinched the, top publisher on PSN?
Yeah, for old games.
Once again.
Yeah.
For more games. So, like, I can't argue that there aren't people that are there day one to buy these games. Even, we're talking old-ass games. Forza 5 is a 4-year-old game that just came out.
But it's not $80.
No, it's not $80. I think it's $7. Well, there's a $100 version.
That's different though. That's not the base.
Yeah.
But when they announced this, and the worst part is when they announced this, it said it's as of today. Like they didn't even give you.
The only thing that isn't changing right away is the prices of games aren't going to change until
the new ones come out, right? Yeah. But again, those games would have to come out.
I
think release first party games.
I think the reason why is I think if they've pulled that trigger right now, that means in 2 weeks Doom is an $80 game all of a sudden.
Oh, they couldn't have done it for that.
And I think the backlash would have been so extreme.
You can't have done it for games that have had probably a decent pre-order time, and
you kill the launch of that game.
Yes.
Especially, if you have if there's a lot of which I'm sure there's a lot of pre-orders of Doom. That's going to be a massive game. You can't all of a sudden be like, well, it's $10 more.
But you sure as hell can do it for Perfect Dark, which might launch next year. Fable, which might launch next year. Call of Duty, which technically isn't announced yet. You know what I mean? Like, you can do it for all of that stuff because it doesn't really exist. But you couldn't have done it for stuff. But to raise the price of your console when you are dead last, and I'm talking like you're dead last behind the first Switch and the second one's coming.
Yeah.
You're fucked. And we had an email last time about, should I get rid of my Xbox for a PlayStation?
Xbox at that point we agreed, yes.
Xbox is begging you to give up on them. They're asking for it. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose to say, what if we just get out of the hardware business and just publish games and do Game Pass?
How much more can we fuck this up for people to give up on us?
Right.
Yeah.
How do we make it so we never sell another Xbox? I got an idea. Who would buy one now?
I got 2 emails.
Yeah, read the emails.
I'm going to read. One of them came in maybe a day before this.
Yes.
So there'll be a stark contrast. But I'll read that one first. Mike from Des Moines, Iowa. Hi, 572 crew. I'm curious. I've been listening to your podcast for months now, and while you guys are typically very critical of every company equally, Microsoft is really the focus of it lately. Now that we are close to the halfway point of 2025, do you think that Microsoft has turned things around this year with the releases on Game Pass? Avowed, Atomfall, The Shadow Drop of Oblivion, Clair Obscur have all been pretty big hits for them, and a great selling point for Game Pass. Seems like the service is on fire right now in a good way. Do you think they can maintain this for the rest of the year, or if it's just a fluke? Thanks. Let me read the other email before we comment. So that email came in like a day or two before this price hike, and then this second email I'm about to read came in probably the day of or the day after the price hike. This one comes to us from Danny from St. Louis, Missouri. Hi, guys. I am done with Microsoft. That's in all caps. The latest outrage has me just done with them now. Raising all of your prices, trying to push the industry standard to $80. Sure, you can easily blame Nintendo for this, but again, it's Microsoft who made the decision to do this. Sure, it's a reaction to tariffs, but that doesn't justify the price to go up on games, especially since there's no tariffs on digital goods. Such bullshit. What do you all think? So I just like the stark contrast of those two
it's
emails,
crazy
but
because the first email is almost entirely negated by what happened. Literally like a day later after we got that.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I would say like we're critical of all three of these companies, but Microsoft isn't making it easy for us to not be.
Keep doing dumb shit.
They just keep like. I would argue they're like we've said maybe in the past, like, oh, there's they're close to being at the 2013 level. They're below it now.
We've cratered.
We've cratered, but like way below 2013. Like, what is an Xbox One? Like, it's like that. They've destroyed their brand in a way that I don't think they could. Even if somebody else came in and we got rid of Phil Spencer, because I've seen some of the diehards say this like on forums and stuff, and we bring somebody else in that is pro console, it's not going to work now. Too much damage has been done.
There's no one left. And you and I talked about it when all this Phil Spencer blame started going around. It's like, has he run it the best lately that he used to in the past? No. But I feel like there's a lot more interference from the top than there ever was.
Absolutely.
Before.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think their reputation amongst gamers, I hate the word gamers, but their reputation amongst gamers is shot to hell. It was already on thin ice. It's been on thin ice for years. And now it's like they just told everybody to go fuck themselves. Like, you're going to pay more for our box because we say so, and you're going to pay more for our games because we say so. But again, we don't release those, and we don't release them physically. So... And even then, it's like they're just on our subscription service,
which you can get on PC.
Right. You don't need an Xbox.
Most of those games will play better there anyways.
Well, guys, everything is an Xbox. We know this, right?
Everything, man.
Right, which is why they can raise the price on the last stock they have, because they're not making any more. And I can tell you right now, a new system ain't coming next year.
No.
Mm-mm.
I don't think.
Is there another Xbox ever? Because now I'm starting to doubt it.
I do think the handheld is real.
Sure, but I'm not paying $730 for it.
No, I think that's the
They
other
better
thing
learn to
is,
make that in America, buddy.
let's say that handheld is real and it is scheduled for release this fall. How fucking expensive is that going to be now? At least $100 more than you thought it was.
Whatever it was, yeah, add 100, maybe probably add 150.
Exactly. So, and if that thing is more expensive than a Switch 2, it's over.
That's wild.
Dead.
It's dead.
Switch 2 is looking real nice right now. $500 seems like a steal.
It seems like a steal. Yeah.
God, this is a fuck up on a major
But I also
level.
would argue, like, and I've seen people, we've had people write in the past, and I agree with them that, like, this has been the worst console generation from the beginning. Like, it was a non-starter when these systems came out. Like, the PS5 had some stuff at launch, but the Xbox famously launched with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just, hey, play these old games. And it took forever to get going into both of these. There's never been a price decrease on either of these systems permanently. We've had a sale here and there, like for the holidays, but there's never been that standard, like, okay, it's been out for 2 to 3 years, we should probably drop the price $100. That hasn't happened. And now, almost 5 years into the generation, you're going to come out and say, well, this same box you could have bought the last 5 years that was $500. Now it's $600.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone.
You weren't buying it before. Will you please buy it now for more money?
I can't imagine a single person that hasn't bought one of those yet running out now and buying even to get it at $500. I don't see anybody like, I got to get one. Like, and for what? So it is a disaster. So,
well, and the other thing too is, like, in the past, Microsoft has made some things about, like, we're going to charge double for this, and they have immediately backed off. They doubled down on this. Like, they locked it in.
Yeah.
I will also say, I'll throw it out here really quick, for this year, at least in terms of their sales for systems, the digital only Series X, and obviously the S is a digital only system, have accounted for 75% of their console sales.
It's about to be 100 because it's the cheapest thing they can buy.
It is. Yeah. Even
100
a standard Series S, I think, is almost $400 now.
Insane. For a console that arguably shouldn't even exist anymore.
It shouldn't.
There you go.
Has no place. Has no purpose.
Any of these people, when it comes to the next console generation, I don't want to see a low tier model. Imagine make one box.
You're a parent, and it's Christmas, and you walk into, we'll say GameStop, because who the fuck cares anymore? And you look up on the shelf, and there's a PS5, and there's an Xbox Series X, and one of them is a lot cheaper than the other, and seems to have more games. Which one are you buying for your kid?
Can you imagine, though, at the same time, like, what kid out there today is going to be like, I want a Series X?
Nobody.
No kid.
No one.
Because all their friends are going to be playing a PlayStation.
If they're like we were, and they were online when they were like 13, reading every piece of games thing they could all the time, like you and I was on every website reading everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All they're going to see now is, like, the Xbox costs more and has less.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you want
That's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to see all day, every day.
I just said, the Switch 2 sounds like a far better deal.
Well, let me to wrap up the Xbox stuff. To wrap up the Xbox stuff. Yeah. As far as Sony, when do you think they drop their? Because there's no way that they're going to just be the nice guys here.
I think if they can afford to be, they will hang on as long as they can.
Okay.
Because Microsoft just did them a favor.
But again, remember, they did already raise prices in most other territories.
And so it will happen here. But Microsoft just did them a huge favor. And basically just sold more PlayStations for them.
Yeah. It's weird.
They had to do nothing.
They didn't have to do anything.
This is after, we have to raise our prices and stuff, and people got pissed at them for that. It's like, not as bad as this.
Yeah.
It's like $900 in some places, in like Australia and stuff.
It's crazy.
Who in their right mind is buying a Series X in Australia now? No one.
It's weird.
Build a computer.
We laugh about it, but like that's the thing I've been saying this whole time. Like, build a computer for the next generation. That's the smartest thing you can do at this point, is build a computer. Like, even if you're not buying the big new games day one, there are so many just random things. Like look at me, for example, how I've fallen down this simulator hole. None of those games I have cost more than $10.
Right.
And I found hours of enjoyment for those.
My game of the year,
hundreds
my
of
potential
hours.
game of the year is $50
last year. Yeah, exactly. So